On October 30th, 1992, the first ever Megami Tensei game developed by Atlus to start it all was released for the Super Famicom and later on for many other consoles like the PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, and even the Nintendo Switch, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online. Jeez, that's a mouthful. Was this title inspired by Nomura or something? What the hell, Nintendo? It was worked on by many talented and well-respected people in the gaming industry like, oh god, here we go, Yosuke Nino, Hideyuki Yokoyama, Kazuma Kaneko, remember that name, it'll be important later, Tsukasa Masuko, and some other benchwarmers, they're not really important. And this project's name was Shin Megami Tensei, and gained quite the following when it was first released to the general public of Japan. Yeah, America wasn't even looking or touching that shit until it came out 22 years later in 2014. And some of you are probably wondering, well, what console was it released on? Was it the PS3 or PS4 or maybe the Xbox 360 or Xbox One? Or if you really have bad taste or just an uncultured swine, the dumpster fire known as the Wii U, which only had that gay-ass pop idol game, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. No, nigga. It was released on iOS. Not only is it bad enough that it's a mobile port, but an Apple mobile port.
What is that? Ugh, it's hideous.
The objectively inferior not just phone, but computer software company as well. Bro, hold on. Cause y'all got me twisted. So basically, you telling me that I gotta associate myself with these clout-mongering Apple users and a company that not only rivals EA and 2K with how lazy they are when it comes to new installments, but is also possibly monitoring my every move and working with feds? This new guy, what's his name? Tim Cook? God, his name just makes him sound like he's a bot. Needs to tighten the fuck up. He already looked like he's wearing a wire. Shee, I miss my boy Steve. And before I continue, I'm already knowing that y'all gonna be thinking to yourselves and typing in the comments, hey yo, this nigga Giraffe Boy sounds like an old man Jenkins ass Android user. Broke nigga alert, broke nigga alert, broke nigga alert. Shut your bitch ass! You know what? I didn't even mean to get that heated. We were just having a simple talk about SMT and things just got a little bit out of control, you know? I didn't mean to take things that far. Oh yeah, SMT. I really need to learn how to stay on topic. Well, it's no surprise that Japan always gets early access or complete custody over the good shit most of the time. I mean, Persona fans in Japan were living it up, enjoying Persona 5 Royal a few months before the US could get their cheeseburger grease-filled hands on it, which led to many sad saps replaying the character trailers over and over again, seeing that sexy new Kasumi Phantom Thieves outfit or that new scary-looking sprite of Ann that shows her long-ass pencil neck. I mean, I'm a giraffe, and I still don't find that shit attractive. Like, what the fuck? Oh, I can't even look at,
That's quite big. Impressive.
I mean, look at that shit. It's probably longer than Haru's forehead. No, fuck that. It's probably longer than Flex on neck. Hey. Sojima. Am I pronouncing that right? There's an E in there. You know what? I don't even care. Sojima. Come on. Let's sit down for a second and just have a talk, bro. Why? Why are we regressing? I thought you left that horrifying pencil neck shit back in 2006, so why are we seeing this again 2 console generations later? I need answers, damn it! That is all. But back to what I was saying before I got sidetracked again for like the 10th time in a row in my whole career of having 3 videos on the internet. Basically, Japan is 99% always the first country to get the goods, pretty much. Except for, Hiroshima. Damn, that escalated quickly. Anyways, you remember how I said at the beginning of the video that Shin Megami Tensei was the first Megami Tensei game? Except, it's really not, because I kind of lied.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
Because the real first Megami Tensei game was released 5 years previous from SMT1 in 1987 and was named Digital Devil Story. I'll say the famous words from a well-known gnome on Twitter and give it a 2 out of 10. I like the other names better. Had more impact in my opinion. Which was based off the book created by, oh fuck, not again, Aya Nishitani? Huh. That was actually not that bad. It was once again developed by Atlus, but was this time published by Namco. It was a Japan exclusive, meaning that this time if you were American, sorry, but you're fucked. It would later be released on other platforms like the Super Famicom and mobile devices, but for the meantime was only playable on the NES and the No, what you're seeing is not an early model for Windows XP. It's, believe it or not, a game system that was named the FM7, which was released in November of 1982 and was only sold in Japan and Spain for some reason. Okay. And let me tell you, it had some top tier games like Flappy, Mappy, uh, The Castle. Gotta say, I'm liking the names that they're coming up with for making these games. They're very introspective and thought-provoking and creative. Jeez, and you guys thought that the Sega Master System was bad. And oh, hey, look, they got Mario Brothers on here as well. Not Super Mario Brothers, I should add, the arcade version. That's still good. Well, all of that doesn't matter because it played like shit, sold like shit, with the Virgin Fujitsu's, oh, that's the name of the console's developers, by the way, measly 220,000 units compared to the Chad Big Dick Nintendo's Famicom, which was released in 1983 and quickly reached the millions in terms of sales because of hit games like Donkey Kong, Tetris, and a little niche game called Super Mario Brothers. Yeah, Super Mario Brothers. You know, one of the most influential games of all time. Anyways, it sold about 40 million copies, which is not, a big deal. I'm pretty sure none of you guys have ever heard of it. Well, that's really besides the main point. The main reason why I brought all that stuff up was because many people really don't mention Digital Devil Story that much as the first Megami Tensei game in the franchise, probably because they couldn't get their grimy hands on it in the first place. I usually hear people say that Shin Megami Tensei 1 was actually the first Megami Tensei game, which I believed for quite some time before I actually tried looking it up, and it popped up eventually in Atlus's catalog of games. Also, let me say, doing research for this part of the video was a pain in the ass because Google, for some reason, doesn't really have its shit together. Because I tried literally searching up what was the first Megami Tensei game, but for some reason, Revelations Persona keeps popping up. Not even Shin Megami Tensei 1. You know, the game that literally has the main series name in the title. Google, what is up with y'all? Are y'all up in California snorting eraser shavings? Like, what's your deal? Some of this information I admittedly had to take from Wikipedia because information about these games are so well hidden, you would think that the CIA themselves were involved in concealing this information, but I digress. Back to what I was originally saying. Atlus, after the release of Digital Devil Story, released some shovelware games like The Karate Kid and Friday the 13th, and some other very irrelevant titles for quite some time before they released their sequel, Digital Devil Story, Megami Tensei 2, on April 6, 1990. After that, they decided to create some more classic games like Amazing Tater and Wacky Races for the Game Boy and some others until they eventually made Shin Megami Tensei in October of 1992. But we already know about stuff like who worked on the game and what consoles or other things it was released on, but what about the reception? Well, from what I could tell, the general reception was pretty positive. According to Famitsu's list of Japanese gamers survey of their top 100 video games, SMT1 was placed number 59 on the list, just under the second Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei game placed at number 58. Oh shit. I mean, the list was created in 2006, 14 years after the game was released. It must have done well anyway to spawn a sequel and a whole series of games that would later become instant classics in their respective genre. This naturally caused these games to gain their own niche following, especially in Japan for obvious reasons. Americans wouldn't really dip their toes into a Megami Tensei RPG until 1996 with the release of Persona 1 for the PS1. It would either be that or Jack Bros for the living, breathing eyesore that goes by the name Virtual Boy in 1995. But not everything was all sunshines and rainbows, however. For starters, since the games are based off of summoning countless figures of numerous religions, mythologies, and many other important figures in anthropology that were all commonly called demons and took place during a time where people were very quick and trigger happy to call something satanic every chance they got, they naturally came to the conclusion that SMT and the games that surround or come after it are, well, satanic. Which is kind of ironic considering you basically punch Satan in the face in literally almost every game. So if anything, I would say these games are quite the opposite. But if you want to learn more about this, I highly recommend watching Snickety Slice's video on Persona 1 since he kind of goes more in depth than me and makes pretty good content in general in my opinion. Certainly content that puts mine to shame, though. That's not really saying that much. Well, you could probably already guess that this caused some, not all, that even heard of the franchise to turn away from the series and most likely go play something else like Pokemon, which was a whole other problem entirely. Pokemon. Now, when Megami Tensei released, there weren't really any games that were considered monster collecting RPGs, or at least any that were popular or that I know of. For all I know, Megami Tensei was the first to do it and pioneered the genre, and was one of the main things that made it unique. Well, that all changed when Game Freak decided to attack with their own take on the genre, with their critically acclaimed release Pokemon Red and Blue in America and Red and Green for Japan in February 27th, 1996. This series pretty much made their own spin/take on the monster collecting and monster battling formula that SMT was also known for, while both adding some new things that differentiated itself for the most part from SMT, like gyms and HMs and some other stuff, but most importantly, it mastered it and made it appealing to mainly children, while also casual gamers and just families across the globe alike. Pokemon Red and Green sold 1.04 million copies its starting year of 1996 in Japan and would only triple the following year of 1997, with a whopping 3.65 million copies sold, effectively surpassing Final Fantasy VII, which is widely regarded as if not the greatest JRPG of all time by popular game reviewers like Metacritic and GameSpot. In terms of sales, with it coming in close at 3.27 million copies. Eventually worldwide, including Blue version, the game by the end of its run would sell 31.38 million copies by March 5th of 2020. Not to mention the amount of merchandise, manga, TV shows, and the countless amount of movies, both animated and live action as well. It completely overshadowed SMT and would later spawn two very distinct types of people who were aware of both series. On one hand, you have the type of people who play Pokemon then look at SMT and say either, oh, it's just Pokemon for adults, or SMT is just another Pokemon clone, despite being released like 4 years prior, or maybe, just maybe, Pokemon is just SMT for kids. Ever thought about that? Eh? Eh? Except they already tried that twice and nobody ever played that game. Then on the other hand, you have the SMT fans that swear up and down that Pokemon stole from SMT and basically copy them. These are probably the same people that probably say that Persona 4 narratively is a ripoff of JoJo's Part 4, or better yet, try to say that Personas are pretty much ripoffs of Stans. Both sides of the arguments are pretty stupid in my opinion. Like for starters, I'm not really as offended like everybody else when somebody says that SMT is basically just Pokemon for adults, because they're usually just saying that from a place of innocence and don't really mean any harm most of the time. Though I will say that describing it in that way just doesn't really give these games any justice really in my opinion, because it's way more than that and are very different in terms of stories, themes, gameplay, music, as well as some other things that you'll notice when you play these games, or hell, just look up some playthroughs on YouTube. Secondly, I really don't think that Pokemon really took inspiration from SMT and it's just purely coincidence. Like stuff like this happens all the time, like when Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transform had the gliding and submarine mechanics like Mario Kart 7. It's overall just really silly and shouldn't be taken really seriously. But this, along with the West thinking that these games were satanic, edgy, and along with many other controversies and slander made by self-proclaimed politically correct people, along with the difficulty for most of these games as well, were the main reason why these games weren't really popular, and like the cool kids would like to say, pretty niche.